So even if you look at the root etymology of the word chair, it may have, I won't be surprised if it has four legs, right? Four legs is what we think of a chair has, chair should have, right? So that is something which our mind is already occupied. But then we looked at so many other ways to sit, starting from bean bags to, some we call in Kannada mane. Mane is where you can sit on a wooden thing or a bench or then different kind of materials. Chair is generally made of wood. It can be made of glass, plastic, metal, right? And so many other ways people can sit, right? But generally, it needs support, okay, and people can sit one at a time, three at a time, right? So different ways a chair can be designed. Then we had the question of making it too comfortable, then people will not live. Then you have lounge chairs where you can, make it in recline and you can sleep, and also you can have a executive chair where get that some kind of a authority, right? And then if it is like a arty place, you may have some bean bags to sit, which can you can move it around, right? So some artists and all will require newer kind of designs, right? So all these things happen related to chair, designing a chair. Then now next we come to what is called an encumbered mind and a fresh mind. Most of the time our minds are encumbered. Means what is the meaning of encumbrance? Like you want to buy a plot, they will say get us an unencumbered encumbrance certificate. Means nobody else is occupying that land. Similarly, when we talk about an encumbered mind, means something is already occupying your mind, because of which you cannot think of fresh, right? You are not able to think fresh because in your mind already certain thoughts are there, right? You have to think freely and think fresh. So long back in Mesopotamia, right, there was a king called Hammurabi. So one day he went in the sun, right, while walking, and he felt very hot. Then he said, all roads you cover it with leather, right? Cover it with leather so that the king will not feel hot to his feet. Roads should be covered with leather, and they started killing animals. Then a small child came. If you don't want to feel hot, why are you covering the roads? Why don't you cover your feet? Right? That's how, I mean, this is a story, whether it's true or not, we have no idea. Cover your foot with leather, right? Starting with leather chappal and shoes probably started that way. So this is a way of thinking in a invert the paradigm and think. Then another example is in your book about fresh and encumbered minds. A truck was stuck below a bridge, right? And they were trying to do all kinds of things by, reducing that, it, you know, cutting the top portion of the truck and all that so that it passes through. Then a child then a small boy was passing and he said, why are you doing something to the truck? Why don't you remove the air of the tire so that it comes down on its own, right? So that is the way he solved it. Again, these are the stories, right? Whether it happened or not, we don't know. And we all have heard of a crow. Crow being a intelligent animal, it's not able to drink the water from a pot, and then it's supposed to have, this is a Panchatantra story about put stones in the water so that the water level will increase so that it can drink. Again, these are the stories, right? Even with its long peak, it couldn't drink water, but by putting stones, little bit of water, it could drink. So that is another way we are thinking of free thinking versus encumbered mind. So again, these are about the design thinking, right. And there is a you have to download all the three books, right? two books are available, and one book, one of the students had soft copy. All three books, soft copies are available for you, right? So this is what is it. So design thinking or outside the box thinking, right? You have to think outside the box, right? So now I'm giving you one problem where there are six matchsticks. Six matchsticks are there. Using six matchsticks, you have to do four triangles. Can you do? Six matchsticks are given to you, and you have to do four triangles. Can you do and show it to me? I'll give you some 10 minutes. Did you all get the question? There are six matchsticks, and you have to do four triangles using them. And as I told, one of you please take notes so that you can share the notes with your peers. Right? Six matchsticks are given to you, and you have to do four triangles. Chinmay, did you understand the question? Chinmay, Ashwini, Danya.
Yes, sir.
Ashwini, did you understand the
Yes,
question?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So try it out. There are six matchsticks, and you have to do four triangles using those six matchsticks. So design thinking is what's called out of the box thinking. Outside the box thinking. Okay, anybody could think of how to do, you know, how to do four triangles using six matchsticks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you tell?
We need to place four sticks like a square first.
Hmm.
Then in the center, we need to place the two sticks like in the cross manner to the corners of the square.
But the issue is that the length of the diagonal, no length of the matchstick will not be long enough to
For the
cover.
square, the sides will be equal, no, sir.
Square it is fine, four are fine, but what about other two how many triangles it will form? Two.
Four
But
triangles.
four triangle, but that matchstick will not reach the other end, yeah, because the length of the matchstick, no, you make it at an angle, it will not go till the end. They are of equal length.
Can I share the picture, sir?
Yeah. You can share the picture. Yeah. Okay, is it Ashwini? Can you share?
Yes, Ashwin.
Yeah, please share. Yeah.
So a triangle inside a triangle.
Sir, I shared in WhatsApp.
Okay. Ashwini, yeah. Ashwini shared one particular way, but it was not, uh, resulting in the right solution. There were many small triangles and more than one triangle. Anybody else? Anybody else can think of? You can
Sir,
tell orally. Yeah. Triveni?
a 3D pyramid, sir.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. Where you have three mastheads and and on the ground, and three more are making a pyramid. Now, why only some of us could think of it? Because our thinking is kind of boxed on a two-dimensional plane, right? On a two-dimensional plane, when even though I have not specified it, when I said the six matchsticks, you have to do four triangle, I didn't say anything about dimensions, right? I didn't say it has to be two-dimensional or it's on a plane, but we kind of implicitly assume that it's on a two-dimensional plane and try to look for solutions. Let your mind the constraint of two dimensions, you come up with a new solution. Probably that's not the solution which is acceptable to somebody, right? He may say, no, I really want it on a two dimension, and then you may have to say, sorry, we don't have. But maybe it is acceptable, right? But the key point which I am trying to tell is that, we, even though nothing is specified, nothing is told, we implicitly have some box when we think, right? We always think inside some box. We do not think outside the box, right? So only when we think outside the box, right, solutions occur. So, for example, incubator, when we think of it as a device which is pluggable, which can be sold, but we never think of it as a blanket, right? So things like that, and the solution could be something altogether different, right? So that is where the issue is, right? We think inside the box, do not think outside the box. Only when we think outside the box, good solutions come, right? So one way to think, outside the box is that original problem. You think it like a suggestion, not as a constraint. You can think, something beyond, right? Something beyond the problem. That, and then come up with a solution which is really outside the box, right? So there is a, scholar called Edward de Bono. He came up with the idea called lateral thinking. We think linearly, you think laterally. That means, think orthogonally to the way other people think, right? That's what's the lateral thinking. Then you come with a new kind of a solution, right? I mean, there was a notion of something called Gordian knot. Gordian knot means something, which people try very hard to open, right? See, basically, what happens that you are given some curd or something, right? You ordered for some fast food, and you are given the curd, and then at the top that some knot is there of the plastic thing. You try very hard to open it, right, at one end, or it may be a ketchup a bottle, right? Ketchup sachet, right? And it's written some, on one end you are trying to open it very hard, but then the solution may be, you try to tear it at the other end, or if something is, is causing too much of a pain, where the knot is not at all opening, you can just with a scissor you can cut that knot. That's what is called a Gordian knot, which was a challenge where a lot of people try to open that knot, and then this Alexander or somebody came, he just cut the knot, right? So that is no longer a problem, right? Another way, they say that engineers solve a problem and philosophers dissolve a problem. So cutting that knot is like dissolving a problem. It no longer problem no longer exists, right? That is a problem. Like we all had a change problem, right? So whenever you go, people trouble you. They don't give you change. Conductor doesn't give change. Shopkeeper doesn't give you change. So the solution was, they will give you chocolate instead, which you don't want. So this candy sales were going very high because of the change issue. In another country, the change is easily available, or the people, they don't want to trouble their customers. They make sure enough change is available. Here, many people, they want to trouble the customers, so they will not give change only. That becomes their what is it? They get a kick by troubling their customers or showing their authority or things like that. Right. So, but then now, once the digital payment came, that is no longer an issue. You can pay exactly. Right. There are still some cases, some issues are there where you can't pay point 0.5, some agencies. Then definitely, right, it is solved. Right. For example, a bus. Bus now, the issue is that, the conductor sometimes they stop the bus halfway, think the stage is changed and, you're not able to, they stop the bus to give tickets to make sure that the people are not cheating. Now somebody can come with a solution where, you are having a QR code and pay, or, you make the transport free for everybody, right? Transport is free for everybody, then you don't have to pay only, right? So, for example, the toll gate, right? Toll gate, the idea of highways, what is the idea of highways? So that you can go fast. There's a queue in the toll gate, then, when do you need to go fast? When there is a traffic, right? During festival times and all, you need to go fast, right? Whereas on other days, right, when the peak traffic is not there, you probably can do without highways, right? You can still the traffic is flowing. You particularly want to go fast in a highway on festival days when there's a lot of peak traffic. But then the toll is slowing down, then you can have a solution that on the festival day you are kind of exempting the toll from the people, right? You just exempt it, or you can have another way. Now FASTag became a solution, right, where people don't have to pay change, people don't have to stop, right? But still, there is a issue of some obstacle, right? And now they are thinking of another solution. As you pass through itself, you are there is no need for a barrier. Once you pass through that, you are automatically charged. So slowly you are thinking of better and better solutions, right? Now some of these are out of the box, where we say that why don't we exempt people from paying for the bus, right? So then it becomes out of the box solution, right? What's a linear thinking solution? Okay, now you go from barrier to FASTag is a linear thinking, and from FASTag to charging as the traffic flows, it becomes a linear thinking solution, right? So things like that. Now design thinking is an essential tool and a third way. The design process often involves number of different groups, different departments, and coming up with the different solution. Tim Brown is a innovation and design from IDEO. Written a this thing called Change by Design. Is written a book. How do you change things by design, right? How do you get a very good user experience, right? So then science and rationality in design thinking, right? So when it comes to design, it cannot be only creative people. For example, Titan came up with a very thin watch, thinnest watch in the world. Right now, you need not only designers who design that, but you also need mechanical engineers. Then so many other engineers who can fit all the things in a very small, very thin enclosure. So a product design, you need product people as well as design people. Then that what should work? There shouldn't be heating. For example, IC, when you do the computer, you are packing a lot of ICs in a small enclosure. But to make sure that there is not too much heating, right? Things like that. Too much heating should not be there. So that becomes mechanical engineers and design engineers to think, sit together and think. You need to think collaboratively. Right. Again, say you think of EVM, right? EVM again, it is very simple. Somebody can just press a button, right? That's all. An illiterate person can see the symbol and press, right? So that is the OTP. OTP based solution. A person needs to know only number. So numbers are language agnostic. He doesn't have to know any language, right? He just needs to be familiar with numbers, right? So these are all, design, different designs, which where you empathize with the user, put yourself in user's thing. Somebody has to just type some numbers or type some letters. Beyond that, they don't need to know anything, right? And people can also do the voice, right? Right. So, but then somebody can clone your voice, right? All these things you have to be careful. So then client rules, somebody says, I try not to think out of the box anymore, but on the edge, its corner, its flap, and under its barcode. Can we do slightly different changes and get something done, right? So need not be outside the box, but something which is slightly different. Right, for biometrics, so can we have a card also? Or can we ask somebody to type a code and the face, right? So that way it becomes fairly simple, right? So maybe let's look at it this way, that there's an institution, right? Then we have a common code. Everybody types 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they do a biometric check. Now, say for example, some terrorist comes, he wants to access, then somehow he manages to look like somebody else, and then you can he enters, right? Now, if there is a also a common code, that means if he types that code correctly, that means somebody leaked the code to him, right? Some person leaked the code to him, right? Now, one of the employees is involved. Assuming there is the code is different, right? Code is different for each employee. Then only that particular employee could have done it. But then, if there are uh, thousands of codes, right? Then again there may be an issue that you would have guessed somebody's code, right? Those things may happen. Then if you want to still do better, then every day the code changes, right? If the code changes every day, even if he got the code of a compromised employee, and that day he comes, his code will change. His code would have changed, right? So all these are kind of with slight changes you can make the you can get the solution. Okay, just hold on. I'll be back in 5-10 minutes. So request you to just prepare notes, whatever you have learned so far. I should be back in 5-10 minutes.